Good morning, everyone. Day 10 of the calendar. So let's discover the coffee of today. Here you go, number 10. Okay. All right, so we have a honey processed yellow bourbon from Peru, roasted by Jacu in Norway. Okay, seems like a interesting coffee. Now, if I see the recipe suggested by the roaster, I can say that it's pretty much, hello Emma, good morning. I think it's pretty much a standard that I do, right? The ratio is this one, the temperature more or less is aligned, the 5 pours basically, okay, yeah, they give you the timing, but I don't know if you have watched like one of my very old video where I actually do 5 pours every 30 seconds, and basically this is the case. So I might think to follow this recipe, because let's see if I can. I want to talk about something, all right, another concept, and I will follow the recipe suggested by the roaster, and then let's see the result in the cup, and let's see what we're going to do after. Here there is a 26 clicks, but on command C60, which I don't have, but I will use my C40. All right, so let's prepare the coffee. Okay, so I'm going to grind 15 grams. Okay. I'm going to do it at 28 clicks. Just look at me while I set the clicks. All right, 28 clicks. Let me grind this coffee. Okay. Okay, this is 28. Perfect. Okay, we are going to brew it with the V60. And should I use Ario paper? No. This recipe calls for a T90, finally. Second time. Okay, so okay, use a T90. Okay. Once again, I have the T90 only for 1 cup, so it's not big. So I cannot do long pour. I cannot use it for the switch, for example, for what I usually do. But for this method, 5 pours, it fits. Okay, so T90 today. Okay. Okay, perfect. So what am I going to do? I'm going to follow the recipe that the roaster suggested, okay? So 60, T90, 28 clicks, 94 degrees Celsius, 15, 250, 30 seconds. Perfect. And then let's see the results. It's a pretty standard recipe. Now, while I was grinding, I was thinking, I did it last year, this concept of the 5 pours, but with the time, because usually I never time my pour. Because, you know, when you time your pour, it can work with a specific coffee, but then when you change the coffee, even with the same grind size, the dynamic can change. So then you need to adjust. Sometimes for coffees, 50 grams of water every 30 seconds is enough to give a nice, let's say, extraction. But for some coffees, they might drain too slow. It's not enough. So you need to give 40 seconds gap in between the pours, or some coffees that go very fast. So you might need to do less, like 20 seconds. So if you can understand the dynamic, how to achieve a balanced extraction by timing the pours, it's perfect. Okay, so you need to think about this. Now let's brew this coffee and let's see if this is the case. Okay, so today we time our pours. All right, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start brewing. 50 grams of water every 30 seconds. Here, of course, grind size matters. Okay, in theory, the first pours, they're always the fastest one, and then after the third one we start to slow down a bit. But let's see if this is the case for this coffee as well. See, now there is more water when I apply the last pour compared to when I apply the third pour. And we keep the same timing in between pours and also the same amount of water. And this because, once again, fine particles, after giving 2-3 times agitation, fine particles has to migrate into the pores of the paper. So it slows down the drainage. Okay, here they say the total brew time should be in between 250 and 30, okay, 250 and 3 minutes. I think we have spot on. Pretty much 3 minutes now. Perfect. Okay. Pretty much. Oh, it's sweet. It's actually a very nice aroma. Perfect. Let's check the yield. Okay. Okay. 211. Perfect. Now, time to taste. All right. Very clean. Has not a very juicy mouthfeel. It's kind of like, I don't know, it seems like watery, but shouldn't be, right? I mean, 5 pours still should give nice intensity, nice mouthfeel, very nice, fruity. So yeah, it's a good cup. It's a good cup. It's good. I just want to understand if this coffee came a bit under. I don't think so. Maybe. Now it's cooling down. There is this lingering sensation in the mouth. It's good. But yeah, it feels a bit like not so much intensity. It's very tea-like. In fact, TDS, we are 1.28. So we didn't reach 130. Okay. So now it's time to talk. So, okay, the cup is not bad. As I said, a nice acidity. It's not sour, okay? It's not under extracted, but we are more on the acidity side. The TDS is low. I mean, it's low. Can be good, okay? 128. Okay, it's a bit low compared to my taste, okay? Based on this coffee, okay? This honey yellow bourbon. But the flavor are nice. The flavor was good. So it's kind of like a characteristic. It's a bit weak. It's tea-like. It's fresh. It's nice. It's bright. It's fruity. Now start to have notes of lemon, which I like. Okay, so citrus acidity is nice. But of course, you think about, okay, I want to extract more from this coffee, right? In case, okay, let's do this. So TDS is 1.28. So we can, like we do every day now, calculate the extraction, the numbers, okay? So 211 multiplied 1.28 divided by 15, and we have 18%, which we are, let me show better. So 18%, which is, it's okay. I like 18% of extraction, but you know that you are on the acidity side, okay? So usually, you know, I like 19, 19.5, that's my aim, 20. Sometimes we saw also like 21, 22 in the past days. So in this way, you know, 5 pours by following the timing, okay? You have, for this coffee at this grind size, with this temperature of water, with this dynamic, you have this, okay? Now, if I brew different coffees with the same kind of grind size, pouring every 30 seconds, it might change. It might not give up to 80%. It can give maybe less, okay? Or even more, right? So, depending on the coffee. Now, what I can do is this. We can take the same recipe, but if I want to extract more, I want to try to do, what if I do 50 grams of coffee every 40 seconds, right? That's what we can try. So let's just give 10 seconds more of gap. Let's keep timing the pour, but let's give 10 seconds more for each pour. And let's see what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna keep this on the side because it's good. I'm going to reset everything, okay? And then we're going to brew another cup, and we see the difference in between this bigger gap in between the pores, okay? 1 second, me and Emma together, 1 second. All right, I'm back. I ground the coffee, again, 15 grams at 28 clicks with my Comandante. Paper T90 in, water ready, 94 degrees, and let's go. Now, we're gonna do same pouring pattern, so 50 grams each pour, so 5 pour of 50 grams, but instead of 30 seconds, we're gonna give a gap for all of them of 40 seconds, okay? So 50 grams of water every 40 seconds. Let's start. Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this second brew is that the fact already we're gonna get 10 seconds more of blooming, so 10 seconds more of saturation. So in theory, you know, like where we were talking about giving 1 minute to saturate better the coffee, here we give 40 seconds, that is 10 seconds more than 30 seconds. So in theory, already the coffee should be even more saturated when I apply this pour. So, oh. Okay. Now, of course, all the water finished the drain. Let's see if it's going to be the case for every pour. Okay, once again, the water finished the drain. Okay, the last pour now in 5 seconds, and the water is basically gone. There are just a bit of drops here, but it's going okay. It's draining well, right? Now, of course, slow down a bit, but that is regular. Okay. So let's see now what we achieve in the cup. All right. So the goal here was to extract more. All right. Just by changing the gap in between the pores. All right. Same water, same temperature, same grind size. Just the pour. All right. That's it. Okay, let's say 30 seconds more of total brew time. But as we saw, there are a few seconds where there was not any more water dripping, okay? but it's good. This gives better saturation on the first pours. In theory, should increase extraction. This contact surface, but also the gap, the fact that there was no water left inside the slurry when I was applying the pour, that all the concept that I was explaining in the past days. So, okay, the aroma is the first thing that changed, is heavier. It's pretty sweet and fruity like the one before, but it's heavier. The aroma is very promising. Okay, let's check the yield. In theory, should be the same, but you never know. Okay, give a bit of a couple of grams more. So yield is 213. Okay, we're gonna use this for the calculation. Okay, now finally, time to taste it. Still a bright cup. First sip is, I feel it that is more intense. I feel it, the intensity, that is higher compared to the previous one. That didn't change much in terms of flavors, in terms of like sensation, you know, the mouthfeel. Yes, it's not as watery, it's not as tea-like like the one before, but didn't change much, okay? At least now. It's lingering now. This one was still lingering, but after a few minutes when it was cooling down, yeah, it's bright, very citric acidity. It's very nice, bright, juicy, very yellow. Nice, I like it, okay? I feel it, that this one is going to be higher strength and also higher extraction. Now let's check it. I like to show the numbers, I like to describe. The best way was like if you were everybody here and everybody could taste a cup of that. That was that would be the dream, you know? But it's not possible right now. This characteristic of citric acidity still there, definitely. Mouthfeel is heavier. It's perfect. Okay, let's wait until this TDS stabilizes. Let's see if it's going to be like a massive change or not really. I think it's still on the bright side, you know, still on the kind of like bright acidity. There is a bit of more sweetness, a bit of more of mouthfeel. Okay. Definitely something more. All right, it's stabilized. Well, actually, it's not a big change. All right, it's 131, the TDS of this cup. All right, okay, it's 131. Didn't change much. In fact, like still on the bright side, but I think that there is more. Okay, in this one. Yeah, this one still a light mouthfeel. It's very thin, but not super thin. Acidity, citrus, nice, still lingering. It's pleasant, okay? It's a bit under, but not unpleasant. This one is definitely more balanced based on my taste, okay? Wow. I like it actually. To be honest, I think, I don't know, it's a very classic taste, you know, nothing complex, but I think that so far this can be my favorite actually. I don't know. Okay, the Kenya was, last week, Kenya was pretty good, but I think this is there. It's the brightness, it's a kind of flavor, you know, like I like acidity, like I like the sweetness. When I get this acidity and sweetness like this, it's very bright, it's very happy, you know, it's a happy cup. Definitely love it. As it cools down, wow. Super juicy. Wow. Really good job. All right, so let's see what we have in numbers. So 213, 1.31 divided by 15. All right, we have 18.6. So basically we gain 0.6 of extraction, which is not a lot. All right, based on number. But in the cup, I think it made a big change. Big change, sorry. It didn't do a big change, but it just like make it better, make it all on the sweet side. I don't even know if pushing this cup more would it be better. I don't know. It's something that's I need to try. I don't have time to make a third brew, unfortunately. But yeah, I will see. Maybe if I manage to make a third brew, I will let you know in the comment. But this cup is pretty balanced. More balanced compared to this one. This is the concept of, let's wrap up this video. The fact that we follow the recipe of the roaster, okay, which is a classic one. It's something that I really do. I did last year for the calendar. I made a video about that. It's fine, it works, okay? The gap that you give between the pores is something that dictates the outcome at the end, the difference. Giving 10 seconds more of gap in between the pores, make it better in this way, okay? You get more juicy, you get more extraction. If you see that it's watery, it's a bit like, I want a bit more mouthfeel. Yes, it is nice, but I want the sweetness to balance a bit more. Instead of grinding finer, you can change the pores. And you see how is the dynamic. If you see that there is water always still there in the slurry before applying the following pour, so that's what you can do. You extend this gap in between pores to achieve not so much extraction as we saw in numbers, but you kind of like, okay, I give something more to balance that acidity, which is not going to change, is not going to crazy change the cup, but it's going to improve it that much that you need to make it enjoyable, okay? To make it one of your favorites across the calendar. So that's improved, not a massive change in terms of numbers, you don't going to go crazy with a change in the extraction, but it improves the cup. So this is something you can do. Now we had to go 10 seconds longer, with a pause to extract a bit more. If you have the opposite experience, it's a cup that, drains very fast. You see that it's very soluble. You see that the coffee drains super fast, but still have basically what you have a bit more astringency. You see that it's a bit over. Reduce the gap if you want. I would suggest to reduce the amount of pores, of course. But for this method, just reduce the gap in between pores to make sure that more water will still there. You will have a shorter saturation at the beginning. And I think you're good with that, okay? So controlling the gap in between the pores, okay? Usually I don't follow this anymore. I try to let you drain everything completely before applying, just to eliminate this factor. So I can control the extraction better by changing grind size and the ratio. Okay, if you add this, it gives you a bigger headache, There is already a lot of things to change. So that's why I don't do it anymore. But it's a good thing to follow, okay? Especially at the beginning, okay? It's good to follow numbers when you brew, because maybe you don't know what you're doing. Follow recipes. Then, but you shape this recipe based on your taste and based on the coffee that you have in front of you. One last thing I want to say about coffee in general is that I suggest always start from coarser, okay? If you think that it's too coarse, don't worry about that, okay? If you get something that has a 18% of extraction, has a watery mouthfeel, is not a problem. It's because the reality is that it's more enjoyable when it's slightly under extracted than when it's slightly over extracted. Okay, in my opinion. okay, in filter coffee, because anyway acidity opens up the flavor, acidity gives the lingering sensation. Of course, if it's too sour, then it starts to be too astringent, but it's better to go more on the coarse side when you start a new coffee, when you open a new bag, rather than going to the going on the finer grind size, because it's more enjoyable, okay, even if it's not balanced. So that's what is my suggestion. You start a new coffee, go slightly coarser than usual. Don't worry about that. Then you decrease the clicks or whatever is the setting with the following one. And in this way, you can enjoy the cup on the first brew. And then you make it better on the second one. There's no problem, but it's more enjoyable. Make your day happier, make your day more positive. So with this, I'm going to enjoy both of them, actually. This cup is very good, okay? Right, now, with this, we thank you very much for watching us, and I will see you tomorrow for another coffee, another day of the calendar, 11, almost halfway. And that's it. I wish you a wonderful day and delicious coffee. Ciao.